Happy Doctor Who Day, everybody, if you're watching this on the day of me recording this. So, future me here, yes. I watched this, and I did a whole intro and a whole outro thing, and when I was watching the episode, I went into it thinking this was the first episode of Doctor Who, and it is, but this is the first unedited, unaired pilot of Doctor Who, the very first version of An Unearthly Child. Not knowing this when I went into it, it surprised me when there was a couple of flaws and little odd things that happened in there, like a scene where they freeze just going into the Tardis. This is the first version and the first thing I've ever seen of Classic Who in full. So it was nice to see the first iteration of it, and yeah, we will be next time watching the proper edited version of this. I do say some of this at the end as well. I'm going to leave that in just so at least you can hear me finding out about it. And I just thought I'd give you the heads up, because in a minute I'm going to say that this is the aired first episode of Doctor Who ever, and it isn't. Even though I'm a huge fan of Doctor Who, I don't know all of the information. I've literally seen the episodes. I love the Doctors and their companions. It used to be Rose, but I'm sorry, Clara is by far my favourite companion. Plus, she just steals my heart. My two favourite Doctors as well is David Tennant and Peter Capaldi. So over time, I'm hoping to watch all of Classic Who. And again, I'm just going to say things that come to my brain, so apologies if anything is wrong, or if, bits of info aren't quite correct. I'm going to try my best to listen to all the little bits of information and take it all in, just casually watching the original Doctor Who's. Also, I'm very intrigued to know how they go about, starting the Doctor's journey and introducing him as he is. Two things I want to say before I start this as well is apologies for my bloodshot eye. So yeah, I have this long coat, which kind of looks like William Hartnell's coat in this first ever episode anyway. And then I know that in some of the later episodes he's wearing like a cardigan style jumper thing like this. So that's why I've worn this. But yes, all of that aside, we're going to get in and just start watching the original Doctor Who. I'm really excited to watch it. Having not seen anything, I don't know what to expect. I love that it even includes this as well.
Okay, hold it there. Hold it there a moment.
Is this the only edit of this? Is this just before it, or? Ah yes, the theme that hid parents behind sofas. According to my parents anyway, but I love the practical effects that went into the opening, by the way. I appreciate it. Oh, it's interesting to hear that the theme is still playing in the background. I am Foreman, a scrap merchant. 76 Tardis Lane. Hey, the Tardis. Oh, it's got the St. John's Ambulance badge as well. That's where that originates from. Oh, it's also interesting to see that the police box logo isn't on the other sides of the box, or isn't on that side of the box anyway. It's only on the front side. The creepy statues there. Was this going to be a... Just in... Oh, I thought I was going to go into the TARDIS.
Wait in here, please, Susan. I won't be long. Good night.
Night.
I want to say something to you. Really? Oh,
not gone yet?
Obviously not.
Ooh, ask a silly question.
I heard the name Susan earlier, so...
Oh, it's one of the girls, Susan Foreman.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, Foreman.
Foreman. She your problem too?
Yes.
You don't know what to make of her?
Nope.
How old is she, Barbara?
15.
She's a genius.
Ah, it's Ian.
Ian, I must talk to someone about
Hey,
this.
it is
but I don't
Ian.
want to get the girl into trouble. She seemed quite interested until I said I'd be willing to work with her at her home. Then she said that would be absolutely impossible, as her grandfather didn't like strangers.
He's a doctor, isn't he? That's a bit of a lame excuse.
Well, finally, I got so irritated with all her excuses, I decided to see this grandfather of hers and tell him to take some interest in her.
Oh, did you indeed? And what's the old boy like?
76 Totter's Lane, and I went along there one evening. There's a big wall on one side, houses on the other, and nothing in the middle except this junkyard.
And a TARDIS, of course. There's a police box in there.
Well, it must be a simple answer.
What?
Well, we'll have to find out for ourselves, won't we?
Thank you for the we. I thought we could drive there, wait till she arrives, and see where she goes.
Gotta love the 60s music.
Oh, sir, it's John Smith from the Common Men.
John Smith. Is that where they got the name John Smith for the Doctor?
I'll return it tomorrow. Oh, that's not necessary till you finished it. I'll have finished it.
She's got a fast mind.
I'm giving Miss Wright a lift home. I've got room for one more.
No, thank you, Mr. Chesterton. I rather like walking in the English fog. It's sort of mysterious.
Sort of mysterious. I like it too, to be fair.
Well, hurry home, Susan, and be careful. The fog's getting thicker.
Did teachers often take students home? Like, I know now they're not allowed to, but... What is she doing? Ink blots on paper. What is she doing? Oh, it's like one of those Rorschach tests, I want to say. I can't remember the name. It's quite a good pattern, actually.
The truth is, we're both curious about Susan, and we won't be happy until we know some of the answers.
I thought you agreed she was a bit of a mystery.
Yes, well...
She is a bit of a mystery, yes.
Well, I don't know how you explain the fact that a 15-year-old girl does not know how many shillings there are in a pound.
Fluffing the line there, dear.
She said she thought we were on the decimal system.
Decimal system?
So is she from another time?
The United States has a decimal system, you know perfectly well. Yes, of course, the decimal system hasn't started yet.
Nothing about this girl makes sense. The other day I was giving a talk about chemical changes. I'd given out the litmus paper to show cause and effect.
I can see red turns to blue, Mr. Chesterton, but that's because we're dealing with two inactive chemicals. Couldn't we deal with two active chemicals and get on with something else?
I like the first person camera, like the teacher is the camera.
These simple experiments are child's play to her.
You know, it's almost got to the stage where I deliberately want to trip her up.
Something like that happened a couple of weeks ago. I'd set the class a problem with A, B, and C as the 3 dimensions.
It's impossible unless you use D&D.
Do the problem that's set, Susan.
I can't, Mr. Chesterton. You can't simply use 3 of them.
Time being the 4th dimension. What do you want E for? What do you make the 5th dimension?
Space?
Space.
That's right.
We have a 15-year-old girl who is absolutely brilliant at some things, excruciatingly bad at others.
A lot
and,
smarter
well, just
than...
inexplicable at the rest.
See her?
Do you see her? Right in front of the car?
She looks
Yes.
around like somebody who's afraid she's being watched.
Why is she so nervous? The fence skate thing reminds me of... Do you remember in the David Tennant episode with Billy Piper where they're in the... Is it the 60s or something? Is it the 60s they're in, or is it earlier? I think it's earlier, actually.
Oh!
No.
Dropped it.
What? Well, use a match.
Was that meant to happen? Or...
Susan?
Susan!
Susan!
Well, that is creepy. What on earth is that doing here?
What's a police box? What's on
earth?
it doing here?
Similar to what I said.
Feel it.
Oh,
You feel it? It's alive.
did they only shoot this once because it was the pilot episode? Or is this another unedited version I'm watching or something?
Look, I've had enough. Let's go and find a policeman.
Well, it is a police box, so...
No, wait. It's not her. Quick.
Well, there you are.
I heard Susan, so... Was that a mistake as well? Hearing Susan before the door opened?
One of our pupils, Susan Foreman, came into this yard.
Really? In here?
We saw her from across the street.
In this light?
We heard a young girl's voice call out to you.
Impossible.
It came from in there.
Is it reasonable to suppose that anybody would be inside a cupboard like that?
Small.
To ask you to let us have a look inside.
You have no right to be here.
I can kind of see how they see him as not knowing who he is, this random older guy.
We saw her come in and we haven't seen her leave.
Younger girl comes in, he says that she never did.
I suggest you leave here.
Not until we are satisfied that Susan isn't in there. Will you open that door?
I will not.
Why not? What are you afraid we'll find there?
Go away.
And I think we'd better find a policeman.
Very well.
And you're coming with us.
Am I?
Ooh.
Must be a hidden lock
That
somewhere.
was.
Well, she said there's no locks on the door, but there was a lock on the door.
Why won't you help us?
You intrude here and start making accusations and implications?
Hello?
If you both want to make fools of yourselves, I suggest you do what you said you'd do.
While you nip off quietly in the other direction.
There's only one way in and out of this yard. I shall be here when you get back.
Come on, Barbara.
What you doing out there, Grandfather?
Go
Uh-oh.
back inside and shut the door! Shut the door! Barbara! What are you...
Oh! They're getting inside. What? Is this an unedited episode then? Is there a finished version? The full version? It's fine anyway. I like that they kept the roundels as well. Like that they had the roundels back then, and they've kept them now.
These people are known to you, I believe.
Door's not quite shut properly. But...
You would insist on going to that ridiculous school, I warned you.
It was just a box.
Bigger on the inside.
I walked all round.
Don't expect any answers from me.
This is a trick.
It is no trick, young man. You both forced your way into the ship. I did not invite you.
A ship?
Ship. I use your own outdated terminology for any craft which does not roll along on wheels.
You mean it moves?
TARDIS can go anywhere.
TARDIS?
I made up TARDIS from the initials. Time
Time
and relative dimension in space. Well, I thought you'd both realize when you came inside and saw the different dimensions from outside.
Yeah, of course they immediately think that.
A thing that looks like a police box, stuck in a junkyard, can move anywhere in time and space?
Yes.
Oh, Susan, don't be ridiculous.
We are not of this race. We are not of this earth.
Oh,
We are wanderers in the fourth dimension of space and time.
I thought she was.
Cut off from our own planet and our own people by eons and universes far beyond the reach of your most advanced...
Nope. And then again, she knows a lot more.
I know these Earth people better than you. Their minds reject the things they don't understand.
No.
You can't keep us here.
Watch me.
I love England in the 20th century.
But you are one of us. You look like us. You sound
One of
like
us.
us.
I was born in the 49th century.
What?
Oh,
Now look, Susan,
that makes sense. Okay. Hence why she thinks things have already...
I've
Yeah.
had enough of this. Come on, let's get out of here.
Yeah, the evil laugh there.
You pushed something when we came in here.
Oh, don't start pressing the desk. You're going to travel in diamond space.
I know that free movement in the fourth dimension of space and time is a scientific dream I don't expect to find solved in a junkyard.
For your science, schoolmaster, not for ours. I tell you, before your ancestors had turned the first wheel, the people of my world had reduced movement through the farthest reaches of space to a game for children.
Don't press the
Risk it
buttons.
for myself.
Don't press the button.
I can't stop you.
What is that? What? I didn't even know the TARDIS could do that.
We cannot let them possess one vague idea that such a ship as the Tardis might be possible.
But Grandfather, don't you see if you let them go now?
Look at them. See how they watch and listen as we talk? If they leave the ship now, they might become to believe that all this is possible at some time or other. Oh, my child, we both know we cannot let our secret loose into the world of the 20th century.
But you can't keep them prisoners here.
He can't keep us prisoners anywhere.
I cannot let you go, schoolmaster. You and your companion would be footprints in a time we were not supposed to walk.
Very well written. No, what have you done? Uh-oh. Whew. There's a TV. Oh, is this the origins of the opening sequence? Hey! The TARDIS sound effect, which was made by running a key, from what I remember anyway. Running a key up and down, was it piano wire? So is the... Yeah, I think it is meant to be. The pattern there that's behind the logo, like behind the opening sequence, that pattern is meant to be the time vortex, the same as in the new series, with the time vortex behind the titles. Honestly, didn't know that. I thought it was just a pattern behind. Yay. The TARDIS. Ooh. Who's the... Oh, is that where they're ending the episode as well? Who is the unknown figure? Yeah, that was a good ending.
You had no right to invite them here. I blame you for this, Susan. You would insist on going to that ridiculous school.
It was just a box.
Perhaps.
But it can't be.
It was. You saw it.
You see, I knew this sort of thing would happen, you stupid child.
Maybe we should leave now.
Just a minute. We are here.
I liked that the Doctor at the end as well in the credits was Doctor Who, Dr. Who, not Doctor Who or the Doctor or the Professor or anything. It was just Dr. Who. It was like, nah, just put it as Dr. Who. That'll be fine. That was really cool. That was really, really intriguing for the first episode. So well written. Gave mystery in there as to who is the Doctor, who is Susan, is she human, is is she from our time? It just left you wondering and asking questions every single second. Brilliantly done. Also with the ending, the cliffhanger with this shadowy figure coming towards the TARDIS after the TARDIS lands on an alien planet, or what I assume is an alien planet anyway. It's amazing how far it's come. Did I just watch the unedited version, or is that they just went, yep, that's it, gonna give it to the BBC now and see if they can make it a thing? Okay, so it turns out that version I watched was an unedited studio recording of the pilot Unearthly Child, including all takes of the second part of the show. Okay, so looking on tardis.fandom.com, it says the pilot episode is a name used to market the first recording of the individual episode, Unearthly Child. The term is not strictly accurate as pilots did not exist before 1963. It is sometimes imprecisely called the first episode of Doctor Who, but this suggests a difference from an Unearthly Child, which can't fairly be said to exist. It is merely a different version of the first episode of Doctor Who, which did not broadcast because Sidney Newman thought it had too many technical flaws and misjudged characterizations. So it then goes on to say 5 different editions of this initial take on Unearthly have been made available to the public over the years, creating some ambiguity over what is meant by the pilot. The actual plots of the 2 recordings of Unearthly are insignificantly different. Nevertheless, all of the pilot's subsequent editions had obvious differences with An Unearthly Child as broadcast, especially in performances and technical recording flaws. Only a handful of lines in dialogue differ in the pilot and Unearthly, but they suggest things about the character and backstory of the Doctor which would be hard to reconcile with the general characterization they later gained. No edition of the pilot was broadcast until 1991, and fans could not easily compare the various editions of the pilot until multiple versions were released on single DVDs in 2006. So okay, the version we watched wasn't the official, from what I can see, pilot episode. That was the unaired one. There were lines in there that were absolutely beautiful. There were technical flaws in there, yes, but I did understand that it was the pilot episode, albeit unaired. The character of Susan was brilliantly written, where you were so taken with her mystery and who was she? What time is she from? Why does she know about the difference with the decimal system and all that kind of thing? It'd be interesting to see the other one, so I might watch the actual aired pilot of it at some point. Okay, what I'm planning on doing is the next time I do one of these for Doctor Who, I'm gonna do the actual aired episode of episode 1 and see the differences then between the 2. And then we'll go from there. So I didn't realise that this was the unaired one, but I'm glad I watched it because it's nice to see what it originally was in the first ever form, and then we'll watch, what it actually aired as the first canonical kind of Doctor Who thing that was out there in the world. Yeah, intriguing to see. Thank you so much, guys, for watching with me, and I hope you really enjoyed that. If you do like this kind of content, if you do like watching Doctor Who along with me, please feel free to subscribe. I also mainly do films, but every now and then I'll watch a TV show. And since watching Power of the Doctor, people have said to me, you need to watch such and such episode of Doctor Who. And it's just made me realise all the more that because I haven't seen any of the classic Whos, I should probably watch them. Especially, there were so many references in Power of the Doctor to classic Who storylines that people have told me about anyway, that this was a reference to this, and I don't know those things. So it's probably best that I actually do start watching them. Yes, I'm not going to get everything that they mention, and I'm not going to understand it all, because even though I'm a huge fan of Doctor Who, I don't know every single thing about it. But it's interesting all the same. Thanks guys for watching, take care, stay safe, and I'll see you next time. And you can also check out my Patreon page, patreon.com/movies with Marty, for the unedited reaction of the unedited Doctor Who pilot episode. Take care guys, like the video if you liked it, and stay safe, and I'll see you next time. Also go and follow me on Letterboxd as well for all things that I have watched and that I want to watch as well. I've got a watch list over there. And yeah, you can let me know in the comments below if there's anything you want me to react to as well, and I'll check it out. Take care guys, bye bye.